"You see," cried the landlady, and she spoke not as if in her own person, but as if she had merely lent Frida her voice. She moved nearer too, and sat close beside Frida. "You see, sir, the results of your actions, and your assistants too, who I am not allowed to speak to, can profit by looking on at them. You snatched Frida from the happiest state she had ever known, and you managed to do that largely because in her childish susceptibility, she could not bear to see you arm in arm with Olga, and so apparently delivered hand and foot to the Barnabas family. She rescued you from that and sacrificed herself in doing so. And now that it's done, and Frida has given up all she had for the pleasure of sitting on your knee, you come out with this fine trump card that once you had the chance of getting a bed from Barnabas. That's by way of showing me that you're independent of me. I assure you, if you had slept in that house, you would be so independent of me that in a twinkling of an eye, you would be put out of this one. I don't know what sins the family of Barnabas have committed, said Kay, carefully raising Frida, who drooped as if lifeless, setting her slowly down on the bed and standing up himself. You may be right about them, but I know that I was right in asking you to leave Frida and me to settle our own affairs. You talked then about your care and affection, yet I haven't seen much of that, but a great deal of hatred and scorn forbidding me from your house. If it was your intention to separate Frida from me, or me from Frida, it was quite a good move. But all the same, I think it won't succeed. And if it does succeed, it's my turn now to issue vague threats. You'll repent it. As for the lodging you favor me with, you can only mean this abominable hole. It's not at all certain that you do it of your own free will. It's much more likely that the authorities assisted upon it. I shall now inform them that I have been told to go, and if I am allotted other quarters, you'll probably feel relieved, but not so much as I will myself. And now I'm going to discuss this and other business with the superintendent. Please be so good as to look after Frida at least, whom you have reduced to a bad enough state with your so-called motherly counsel. Then he turned to the assistants. Come along, he said, taking Clam's letter from its nail and making for the door. The landlady looked at him in silence, and only when his hand was on the latch did she say, There's something else to take away with you. For whatever you say, and however you insult an old woman like me, you're after all Frida's future husband. That's my sole reason for telling you now that your ignorance of the local situation is so appalling that it makes my head go around to listen to you and compare your ideas and opinions with the real state of things. It's a kind of ignorance which can't be enlightened at one attempt, and perhaps can never be. But there's a lot you could learn if you would only believe me a little and keep your own ignorance constantly in mind. For instance, you would at once be less unjust to me, and you would begin to have an inkling of the shock it was to me, a shock from which I'm still suffering. When I realized that my dear little Frida had, so to speak, deserted the eagle for the snake in the grass, only the real situation is much worse even than that. And I have to keep on trying to forget it so as to be able to speak civilly to you at all. Oh, now you're very angry again. No, don't go away yet. Listen to this one appeal. Wherever you may be, never forget that you are the most ignorant person in the village, and be cautious. Here in this house where Frida's presence saves you from harm, you can drivel on to your heart's content. For instance, here you can explain to us how you mean to get an interview with Clam. But I entreat you, don't do it in earnest. She stood up, tottering a little with agitation, went over to Kay, took his hand and looked at him imploringly. Madame, said Kay, I don't understand why you should stoop to entreat me about a thing like this. If, as you say, it's impossible for me to speak to Clam, I won't manage it in any case, whether I'm entreated or not. But if it proves to be possible, why shouldn't I do it? Especially as that would remove your main objection and so make your other premises questionable. Of course I'm ignorant. That's an unshakable truth, and a sad truth for me. But it gives me all the advantage of ignorance, which is greater daring. So I'm prepared to put up with my ignorance, evil consequences and all, for some time to come, so long as my strength holds out. But these consequences really affect nobody but myself, and that's why I simply can't understand your pleading. I'm certain you would always look after Frida, and if I were to vanish from Frida's ken, you couldn't regard that as anything but good luck. So what are you afraid of? Surely you're not afraid. An ignorant man thinks everything possible. Here Kay flung the door open. Surely you're not afraid of Clam. The landlady gazed at him in silence as he ran down the staircase, with the assistants following him.